Hello, friends, and welcome to Storytime. Today, we're going to be reading the book, Our Subway Baby. This book is written by Peter Mercurio and illustrated by Leo Espinosa. So this is the front cover, this is the back cover, and this is the spine. And the spine says, Our Subway Baby. Okay, friends, let's get started. Our Subway Baby. This is the title page. Some babies are born into their families. Some are adopted. This is a story of how one baby found his family in the New York City subway. It was a cool August night in New York, and Danny was riding the subway home. On his way out of the station, he saw something tucked away in the corner. At first, it looked like a doll, but it wasn't. What do you think it is? It was you. You were only a few hours old, wrapped up in a sweatshirt. Danny brushed your cheek. You wiggled your arms and legs. For a moment, time stopped. But then Danny jumped to action. He called the police. And then he called me. I found a baby, he shouted. Get here, quick. I could practically hear Danny's heart beating through the phone. So, of course, I ran. You were in a police officer's arms the first time I saw you. You looked like an angel, and Danny and I couldn't take our eyes off you. The officer gently put you in the police car, and you yawned as if this sort of thing happened every day. We waved goodbye, hoping we'd see you again someday soon. A reporter picked up the story, and soon all of New York City wanted to know more about Danny and the baby from the subway. You made headlines in all the newspapers and on TV. Look, here it is in the newspaper about how Danny rescued a baby. We didn't know it at the time, but Danny had not just found a baby. He had found our family. Danny couldn't stop thinking about you, and so the next morning he went to the hospital, but they wouldn't let him see you. Only family may visit, said the lady at the front desk. I'm the person who found him, Danny said. He doesn't have a family. I just want to make sure he's okay. Thanks to you, he's a healthy little boy, the lady said. Who knows what would have happened if you hadn't found him? The nurses named him after you and the subway train, Danny, ACE, Doe. So Danny and I had to go on with our lives. And even though we had known you for only a few minutes, we missed you. We wondered about you often. We learned that you were placed in a foster home. Some babies stay in foster care for a short time, and some for a long time. Some live in many different foster homes and grow up without a permanent home or family. Judge Cooper, the woman in charge of finding loving homes for many New York City children, didn't want that to happen to you. Luckily, she knew how you and Danny had found each other. She had heard about his visit to see you in the hospital. She had seen him talk about you on the TV news. And so she knew exactly where you belonged. But first, she wanted to meet Danny. In December, Judge Cooper called Danny to her courtroom. You care a lot about this little boy, don't you? She asked. Danny nodded. A A baby belongs with someone who loves him, and I think that's you. Would you like to adopt him?" Danny took a deep breath. In that moment, he knew adopting you was exactly what he wanted. "Yes, I am interested, but I know adopting a baby isn't always easy for two dads." "It can be," the judge smiled. "Where there is love, anything is possible." Danny was speechless. All he could do was nod again. He left the courtroom excited about us starting a family together. It's funny to think about it now, but I wasn't so sure at first. "That's incredible," I said to Danny, "but it's impossible." "Where there is love, anything is possible," Danny said. "Fate is giving us a son. How can we refuse?" "But I was scared." Does he look a little bit scared to you? "After all, our apartment was tiny. Our piggy banks were empty. I didn't know if we had what it took to be your parents." A few days later, we went to your foster home to visit you and to see if we are ready to be your parents. Danny cradled you first and then placed you in my arms. "Your turn," he told me. As soon as he put you in my arms, you started to cry. I mean, you wailed. But then something strange happened. "It's okay," I whispered and brushed your cheek. "You're going to be all right." Suddenly, you stopped crying and just stared at the two of us with those big, wide eyes. And then you wrapped your tiny little hand around my finger and you squeezed and squeezed. The harder you squeezed, the more I forgot my worries. Our home may have been tiny, our piggy banks empty, but our hearts were full. That's how we knew we were meant to become a family. We chose to name you Kevin in honor of a family member who was very special to us. And our names changed too. We became your Daddy Danny and Papa Pete. The miracles didn't stop there, though. We thought we'd have to wait months and months to actually bring you home. But Judge Cooper asked if we'd like to bring you home for Christmas. For Christmas? That was in 3 days. We didn't have anything for you yet. But of course, we said yes. Where there is love, anything is possible. All of your new relatives sprang into action to get everything you needed. Look, all the things they're buying. Grandma and Grandpa supplied a crib and diapers and footsie pajamas. And your aunts and uncles brought bottles and blankets. Your cousins gave you toys and a teddy. We stayed up all night reading books about how to take care of you. Now, all we needed was you. On the day you came home, it was snowing. The flurries floated in the air, moving in every direction as if performing a special dance just for you. We didn't have a car, so we thought about hailing a taxi or hopping on a bus. But since you had entered our lives at a subway station, we chose to bring you home the same way. Look, they're holding the baby and they're going into the subway. That's just where they found him. So they decided it was appropriate to bring him home the same way. We sat in the corner with you on our laps. We were so happy. It was contagious. And other passengers smiled at us. Soon, the rocking and swaying made you sleepy. And I still remember how you looked at us and yawned. Then you closed your eyes and took your first nap as our son. There we were, the three of us, in a dream we hadn't dreamt, but that came true anyway. Sometimes life hinges on little moments, happy accidents, and miraculous surprises. Sometimes babies are born into forever families, and sometimes they are adopted. And sometimes all it takes to find your family is a chance glance at tiny toes wiggling in a corner of a subway station. And now we have some photos. Look, here's a picture of Pete and Kevin and Danny when Kevin was just a baby. And here is Kevin when he was a little kid. And here's Kevin now. He's grown up now and he's in college. Wow. And so here's him through his life with his two dads, Danny and Pete. The end. So this book was called Our Subway Baby, the true story of how one baby found his home. Thank you so much for coming to Storytime, friends, and I'll see you next time.